10. We just talked with Tom Crean and
to know that you were sitting there knowing we're in, knowing now it's just waiting to see where they're sending us, what seed did they give us, and who do we get to play.
And to see them, their faces when we finally got called to play out in Portland, first round against New Mexico State, it was like a big weight had been lifted off of their shoulders.
Just to have Indiana, that name, back on that Sunday when we saw the selection, show, to see what it meant. And that gave me a cold chill, because I said, you know what, boy, this is the reward for what has been and how hard these kids have worked to get to the point to where they are.
What does it mean to you to finally get to the NCAA tournament?
It's very special. It's always it's a regular thing for IU to make the tournament, and the last couple of years have been a little down and a little weird that IU's not in the tournament. So I'm glad that as seniors we finally are going to get a chance to go, and hopefully we can do some damage.
Hi everybody, this is Don Fischer. We're here at the Child Center at the University of Portland. This is the basketball facility for this school, the Pilots, and obviously Indiana's getting ready for the NCAA tournament.
Well, you had to be excited for them, because for the guys like Riddell and others that were here at the very beginning, to be able to see them in Portland and enjoy and experience what it's like to play an NCAA tournament for the first time was really special.
Indiana drew New Mexico State in the first round in Portland and quickly overwhelmed them with their firepower. Jordan Hulls went off, canning 3 after 3 in a 22-point performance, including an 11-point run of his own. Teammates Cody Zeller, Will Sheehy, and Christian Watford collected 14 points apiece. Indiana had won their first tournament game in 5 years.
When you get past the first round, now there's not going to be an easy game, and so I think our guys knew it, but they also knew what it felt like to win that first one, and they wanted to experience it again.
In the next round, IU faced a tricky and relentless foe and returning Final Four team, Virginia Commonwealth. Things didn't go Indiana's way early, as the Rams' much talked about havoc defense was causing Indiana problems in the early going as the Hoosiers found themselves in an early hole. But just as he had done so many times that season, Christian Watford stepped up and hit some huge shots at the close of the half.
Tom's decision to put Christian in at the end of the first half, that's oftentimes sort of ignored in the review of that game. But that was an unusual decision, but it was one where he had a lot of confidence in Christian, and then Christian delivered, part of his great tournament run.
Christian's maturing through this season in a lot of different ways was a big factor.
Christian's shot against Kentucky, that's going to go down as one of the greatest three-point shots probably in program history, but those two he made against VCU late in that first half when it was, I think it was a 10-point game late in that half. We weren't playing well, and yeah, they were really giving us problems, and Christian kind of took that on his shoulders.
And the points that he scored at the end of the first half, he scored 8 straight points at the end of the first half to get Indiana back into this ball game, and I thought that turned around the whole complexion of the game. The confidence level immediately came back to this ball club.
I just wanted to come in and give my team a boost. I knew we was down, and I didn't want to go at half being down like 10 or whatever it was. So we tried to come back, make it a closer game going in half.
I remember looking at Victor when he was coming out of a timeout, and I was starting to cry because I just couldn't believe that we were going to lose at that point. It wasn't going to end then. And he looked up at me and kind of looked at me like, "Why are you crying right now?" And I just said, "Take over the game."
A really furious comeback fueled by Victor Oladipo's conventional three-point play, then the rebound, the quick fast break, and the lucky or timely rebound off to Will Sheehy, where he hit a tremendous clutch shot.
Will is one of the guys that he's pretty consistent. He's a great scorer. We would definitely want him taking that shot at the end of the game, and he stepped up and hit it, and you know, it was a great win for us.
No, I don't think anybody would have wanted to take the shot more than him, and no one would have had more confidence that it's going in than Will. But that's what makes him what he is. And Vic would tell you he passed it to him. A lot of people would say it got blocked to him, but the bottom line is it went in, and then we had to stop him, and we did.
He was driving, I think he bobbled it or something. He came right to me, and you know, I want to take that shot. It was a good shot, and it went in.
We're here in Atlanta, Georgia for the Sweet 16 of the NCAA basketball tournament. Of course, the Indiana Hoosiers will play Kentucky on Friday night.
I don't know that many people sitting in those rooms, you know, in the selection show Sunday, you know, came around, wanted to draw Kentucky, and I'm not saying we were begging for it, but that didn't scare us.
To have two teams, one team knowing this team beat us, for us to go in knowing this team knows we beat them, you had a classic set up.
You know, we knew if we were going to be in that 4 or 5 seed range that they very well could put us against them. And you know, I don't think that any of our guys didn't look forward to playing them.
They were so focused that week, you couldn't even talk to them. They were so locked into the game. There wasn't a time at a meal, or there wasn't a time at you know, any of the events that we did that they were, you know, thinking about the fact that people were coming up to them or taking their picture. When we were at CNN, there was a huge crowd of people lined around taking pictures, and you could tell they just wanted to take care of business, do what they needed to do, and then get back to studying film or getting ready for the game.
They were as excited to get another crack at Kentucky, and really, and it has nothing to do so much with Kentucky, but just playing who everyone else perceives to be the best, you know, including, you know, every person in the media that's choosing those games. You know, I don't think that really ever kind of set them back, and it showed on the floor.
You kind of wish that people would you know, have trust in IU and in our team, but they don't. It's okay. We don't really care. We'd rather be picked as the underdog the entire way through.
You can make your predictions, but you can't play the game. We play it. So we have control over who wins and loses.
Indiana showed on a national stage that they could more than hold their own against one of the most talented teams in the country. IU matched UK shot for shot, but ultimately succumbed due to a phenomenal foul shooting effort by the Wildcats. Many experts later regarded that contest as the best of the tournament.
If you would have told me that we scored that many points and not win that game, I would have been shocked. So it was incredible. They played so hard.
You will hear most people say that Indiana played Kentucky better than anybody else in the NCAA tournament this past year. That's a real compliment to this basketball team, I believe.
We made Kentucky play their best in order to come away with a win, because they knew we had mentally the experience of beating them, and we were confident and felt as though we had a game plan that could work for us.
For it to come to an end, it just, it hurts, but not a better group of guys that you could put around us in the country, and you won't find anybody like us in the country, and I'll bet everything I got on that. I mean, I love these guys, and we'll keep fighting. They'll be fine.
You know, I love these fellas. I love my teammates. They're all my brothers, you know. I'm going to be at all their weddings.
A lot of times coaches say it, and they got one hand tied behind their back. They say, well, they gave everything they had. These guys gave everything they had. Show you my hands. They gave everything they had.
Even though, I mean, they went on to win the national championship, I still feel like we could have won that game. So we're just going to continue to keep going and take all the pains and sorenesses and all the trials and tribulations we had from last year and learn from them. And, you know, try to keep growing as a program and as players so we can actually reach the goal we're trying to get to.
I think watching the intensity that they all brought was actually at the level that was, you know, preparing them for a future national championship.
Yes! Derek Elston gets his third basket of the game, his second three.
There's been a bar set. They set it. And now it's let's live up to that bar every time we walk on this court.
You know, you stop and think about what that team accomplished this year. I mean, beating the number 1, 2 teams in the country at home, that had never happened here. Of course, didn't have a lot of years because we were ranked number 1, so you never had a chance to beat the 1 and 2 teams. But to beat the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, a first for Indiana basketball is significant. Winning 2 games in the NCAA tournament to get back to the Sweet 16, a monumental accomplishment for this team.
This is a basketball team that brought this program back to prominence once again, and that's what everybody's been hoping would happen. And I'm sure there are those who are not very patient and thought it should have come sooner, but the truth of the matter is it takes that kind of time to rebuild a program when you start from ground zero, and that's where Tom Green started from.
And taken away by Ingram for North Carolina Central. Drives it in the lane. Blocked shot by Victor Oladipo.
There's no question that, well, we went through a rough 3 or 4 year stretch, and we were not the best basketball team in the state of Indiana, and probably not in the top 2, maybe not even the top 3. And that was tough for Indiana fans to take, obviously. And it was tough for the coaches to take. It was tough for the players to take. Anybody associated with the program in any way, shape, or form, or who cares about the program, it was a difficult 3 or 4 years.
In some regards, it's tragic when you look at where Indiana went to in terms of the depths, but at the same time, it's so gratifying. And we appreciate winning so much now because of where we've been.
Down the floor to Cody, dunks it! Cody Zeller with and a steal by Cody. Cody gives it to Victor. He drives inside, reverse layup is gone.
It's a lesson in perseverance because certainly if you play basketball at Indiana, the spotlight is so bright, and the patience level of fans, regardless of whatever team you follow, can be very, very limited. And those guys came to work every day, practiced hard, played hard. When they were overmatched, they never quit. But more than anything else, they persevered and got to enjoy a great season.
I think Indiana University basketball owes a great debt to Tom Crean, and I'm glad that he and his players have been rewarded here a little earlier than we thought, and I'm very optimistic that this will be seen as the beginning of where we expect Indiana University to be back. But the real beginning, I think, was when Tom Crean came to Bloomington, Indiana.